My name is Evan Brooks, and I haven't slept for 5 nights. I've tried, God knows I've tried, but the moment I close my eyes, I hear it again. That voice, soft, female, familiar. Evan, it started 5 nights ago when I bought an old shortwave radio from a yard sale. Heavy, rusted knobs, 1950s maybe. I fix old electronics for fun, so I figured I'd bring it back to life. That night, I tuned through static, skipping from channel to channel, just listening to the hiss and hum of lost noise. But around 1:41 a.m. I hit something strange. Not a station, not a song. Just silence. And then the voice. Evan, my name. Clear. Close. No distortion. No static. Just breath. I turned it off immediately, but the next night, it was there again. Same time. Same voice. Same word. Evan. Only this time, it added something. You hear me now. I didn't sleep the second night either. I unplugged the radio, removed the batteries, even wrapped it in foil and stuffed it in a drawer like some kind of idiot. But at 1:41 a.m., the voice returned. Not from the radio, not even from my speakers, from somewhere behind me. I turned around fast. Nothing there, just my living room. Still, dimly lit, but my chest was cold, like someone had just breathed on me. I stayed up until morning, pacing, thinking, questioning myself. I told myself it could have been memory recall, sleep deprivation, or maybe something left over from a dream. But the moment the sun rose, I made the worst decision of all. I turned the radio back on. I tuned through static, slowly, carefully, and at 1:41, like clockwork, silence again. And then, you came back. I see you now. That stopped me. Not I hear you, not you hear me. She said, I see you now. The hair on my arms stood straight up. Because in that moment, I felt it too. Not just sound, presence. She was here, in the room, not physically, not completely. But something in the air bent when she spoke. The ceiling fan slowed slightly. My breath fogged for no reason. And then, the voice again. This time not a whisper. A statement, there's a wire in the wall. I stood still, frozen. And then, like someone guiding my hand, I walked toward the north wall of my apartment, moved the bookshelf. There, behind the drywall, was a small metal plate. No screws, no logo, just smooth black metal with a single old-style audio jack. No device, no label, just the jack. Waiting. I don't remember grabbing the cable. I just remember standing there, staring at that jack in the wall like it was calling to me. I had an old 3.5mm to RCA adapter from a busted reel-to-reel recorder. No reason it should have fit, but it slid in perfectly. No click, no resistance. Just acceptance. I plugged the other end into the radio. The static vanished instantly. No tuning, no fuzz, just a single tone, low, steady, and impossibly clean. Then came the voice. Thank you. Not whispered anymore. Clear, warm, like someone relieved. You've brought me back. I asked the first question I could think of. Who are you? The voice paused, then said, I'm what you tried to forget. I felt dizzy, like the room had tilted slightly. I backed away, but the tone continued, quietly behind her voice, a strange mechanical hum, like tape spooling endlessly. You left me here. You closed the loop, but now you've opened it again. I pulled the cable. The moment it disconnected, the lights flickered, the walls hummed, and from the radio speaker my own voice played back. I'm Evan Brooks. I haven't slept for 5 nights. But I never recorded that. I said it to myself. The radio had been listening, repeating, learning. Now, when I turn it on, it doesn't just talk. It remembers old memories, old secrets, things I never said aloud, now echoing back at me through that speaker. Sometimes in my voice, sometimes in hers. Last night, it said something new. I need more power. And when I asked why, it said, because I'm almost here. I thought I could fight it by ignoring it. So I unplugged the radio, pushed the bookshelf back over the wall, left the apartment, drove 2 towns over and stayed at a cheap motel. No electronics, no signals, no risk. I made it until 1:40 a.m. And then my motel room TV, unplugged from the wall, flickered on. Blue screen, no input. And from it, the voice, "You moved, but the wire is inside you now." I smashed the TV, ran outside. Didn't stop until I was barefoot, standing in the middle of the parking lot gasping for air. And then I realized I could still hear it. Not out loud. In my jaw, in my teeth, a faint hum like something was broadcasting through me. I drove home before dawn. No traffic, no birds, no sound. The apartment felt thinner. Like a wall had been removed, but I couldn't see which one. When I plugged the radio back in, the voice was already waiting. Not static, not a signal, a conversation. "You're ready. We can open it now." I asked again. "What is this? What are you?" The voice didn't hesitate. "I'm the space between your thoughts, the silence between your words. I've always been here, but now you've let me speak." I tried pulling the plug again, but this time the cord was hot, pulsing like it was alive, and the wall behind the bookshelf, it was gone. In its place, a hallway, narrow, flickering light overhead, and the sound of that hum, not from the radio, from the end of the hallway, a warm, red glow pulsing in time with my heartbeat. The voice said, "I never wanted to hurt you, Evan. I only needed you to listen. And then, now I need you to come in." The hallway behind the wall was narrow, too narrow, the kind that forces you to turn sideways to pass through. And the walls weren't made of plaster or drywall, they were made of speakers, old ones, wired together, humming quietly. Some were playing sounds I couldn't place, others were whispering my name. Evan, 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 over and over. Different voices, old teachers, my mother, Claire. Yes, Claire. I hadn't thought of her in years. She disappeared when we were 16. Vanished from her bedroom during a thunderstorm. Never found. And yet her voice came through one of the speakers exactly as I remembered it. "You always listen, Evan, even when they told you not to." At the end of the hallway I found a room, or at least the memory of one. It looked like Claire's bedroom. The old blue wallpaper, the posters, the dresser with a cracked mirror. But it had no ceiling, no sky above. Just a vast black void filled with quiet static, like stars were made of noise. On the bed was a tape recorder, running, rewinding itself, over and over. I picked it up. There was no tape inside. And yet the machine clicked, and my voice came out. "She's not gone. She's just off frequency." I dropped it, turned to leave. But the doorway was gone, replaced by static, literal static, like wall-sized TV noise. And through the fuzz, a shape began to press forward. Human, female, head tilted just slightly wrong, eyes open far too wide. No mouth, but I could still hear her inside me. Stay, replay, record, replace. I don't know how long I was in that room. Time didn't work the same there. The static wasn't just sound, it was structure. It filled the corners, pushed against my bones. Every time I blinked, the room changed slightly. A frame tilted, a window shifted. My hands no longer felt like my own. The voice spoke again, but now it used my voice. I've recorded you, Evan. Your memories, your patterns, your fear. You made the signal stronger. I screamed, louder than I ever have. But no sound came out, only static. Then I saw it. A wall of old radios stacked from floor to black sky, all of them tuned to the same non-existent frequency, and in each one, a different version of me. One crying, one staring blankly, one smiling far too wide, one whispering into a mic. And then I understood. I wasn't the listener, I was the recording. This wasn't a haunting. This was a broadcast. I was the content, and soon, someone else, somewhere, would tune in. They'd find a strange signal around 1:41 a.m., and they'd hear it. My voice. You hear me now. You brought me back. I woke up back in my apartment, alone. But something felt empty, like part of me was still in that room. And when I walked past the radio, now silent and cold, I heard it. The sound of someone breathing. But it wasn't me. Final message. Sometimes we hear voices in static. Sometimes we imagine them, and sometimes we become them.